Welcome back. All right, last Saturday night. This is it. Next Saturday night, there's no hockey games on. And then from there, we're into the playoffs. So these long nights are done. During the playoffs, I have a separate playlist for each series. I've been doing that the last couple of years. I'm doing that again this year too. Every series gets its own board. So these long reviews will be done. The detailed game reviews will be far more detailed, but there'll be a video for each series, each game, and a playlist for each series as well, which I've found actually ends up being pretty popular. All right, starting off, Ottawa and Montreal. So I'll tell you what's not popular with Montreal players, Tim Stützle and anything Tim Stützle. This game, the back and forth was one thing, but, Stützle took the high ground, and clearly Montreal didn't care. It's Price versus Forsberg. They had a nice moment of silence for Guy Lafleur, and I'm just going to say every pregame I saw had a moment of silence for Guy Lafleur. There have been very nice tribute packages. It's been great. It's honestly been great, and it's been great hearing all the stories too. Early chances for the Habs, however, on Ottawa's first shot they score, it's Kastelik with his first NHL goal from Sabourin and Tierney at 2:33. And when he scored the goal, Kastelik ends up in a fight with Pezzetta. So that's a way to get 2/3 of a Gordie Howe hat trick at the same time. And I don't know that I've seen that before. So impressive. The shots are 5-2 for the Habs at 4 minutes. There's a power play from Montreal. Perreault was denied in close. That's killed off. Formenton with a break. He loses the puck on that. It's a physical, really, really tough game. Every time Stützle's on the ice, Montreal was trying to knock him through it. And that included Gallagher. So, and usually included Gallagher. Sens get a power play. That was killed off. And then Montreal ties it. It's Rem Pitlick from Evans and Gallagher at 15:57. There's another power play for the Sens. There's some hate. There's some punching going on. Lots of punching. That's killed off. It's 1-1 after one. Second period. 44 seconds in, Watson scores from Holden and Kelly. Parker Kelly's really been heating up for Ottawa late in the season. Sens then look for more. They end up getting themselves a power play. During that, there's a long delay, cracked glass. Not much you can do. You got to replace that paint. It was the curved glass next to the bench. It takes a while. So, yeah, they had to replace that. And when the play resumed, that power play is killed off. And then at 6:43, it's Kelly from Watson. And it was a nice end-to-end rush by Parker Kelly to get that goal. Sens try to add another, and they do. Norris from Tkachuk and Batherson at 7:15. And then Kastelik gets his second goal of the game from Sabourin at 7:50. This is where Marty St. Louis decides he's seen enough and he calls a timeout. And it has the desired effect. Less than a minute later at 8:43, Caulfield scores from Hoffman. So Caulfield's up to 20 goals. That's good. 20-goal season. Awesome. Sens get a power play. That's killed off. And then late in the period at 17:17, during a delayed penalty, Edmondson scores for Montreal from Anderson and Evans. With 2:08 left, the Habs get a power play. So here you go. They've got a couple of goals. They've got momentum right away. Formenton steals a puck from Hoffman at 18:05. He buries it behind Carey Price on a breakaway. And I'm sure Carey Price during this game was reminded of the defense that he was behind the 3 seasons prior to this one. Because, again, this is a storyline we've had where, I watch every game, and Montreal always allowing 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, and breaks. And Carey Price still obviously getting back into shape. It's got to be tough. Third period, early Habs power play. That's killed off. The shots were 4-0 for Montreal at 7.5 minutes. And, again, every time Stützle is out there. Now, to Stützle's credit, he stood up for himself. He didn't shy away. DJ Smith didn't stop playing him either. Rem Pitlick would get his second of the game. He scores from Gallagher at 8:19. With 4:49 left, the Habs get a power play, but it becomes a 4-on-4. Everything gets killed off, and honestly, it was kind of an ugly 60 minutes of hockey. I mean, fun to watch, but still a lot of dislike between these two teams that are not in the playoffs. Ottawa wins 6-4. They go to 31-41-7 on the season. Montreal's 20-48-11, and here's the thing. With all the results tonight, they are back at the bottom of the league. They're 32nd again. Remember when they moved out of 32nd? They're back. Your shots in this one favor Montreal 16-6 in the first, 18-16 Ottawa in the second, and then in the third, the shots were 16-2 for Montreal. They outshot Ottawa 48-26. Your power plays, Montreal 0-4, Ottawa 0-5. The hits 27-19 for Ottawa. Carey Price, 20 saves on 26 shots. And I see that, and I think about him saying how, evaluating and all this, and I've got this, it's just me, but I've got a feeling this might be Carey Price wrapping it up. I don't know. We'll see what he does after the season's done, but he hasn't quite been himself. And again, I understand he's trying to get back into shape, but we saw with Ben Bishop earlier in the year, sometimes coming back from an injury like this, it's just not going to happen. Forsberg saves 44 out of 48. He had a good night for Ottawa. Obviously, defense was optional, and Ottawa decided not to use it. And yeah, Montreal loses this game in the end. But a lot of goals, and it was definitely entertaining. All right, next up, Nashville in against Tampa. Tampa looks like they've realized, playoffs are almost here. We've got to start winning ourselves some games. So it's Saros versus Elliott. They had a nice pregame on Terry Crisp. I felt bad for Crispy because, of course, this is the overlap too with the Guy Lafleur moment of silence and tribute. And yeah, so, for Terry Crisp, I'm sure he probably would have preferred if it was on a different night. But hey, he was the first coach that Tampa Bay had. He is retiring altogether. Nashville's in against Tampa, so it makes sense. He's obviously, been in the Nashville broadcast group for, I think they said 24, 25 years. Been a long time. Anyways, early Bolts power play, and they score on it. Hedman from Kucherov and Stamkos at 1:51. Bolts look to add another. The punching starts at 3 minutes and 10 seconds. We go to 4-on-4. So power play for Nashville, that's killed off. And at 10:59, Cirelli adds another from Sergachev. So it's 2-0. Preds try to answer. They end up hitting the post as well. Cousins has a net drive that's defended. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. With 4:04 left, Nashville gets a power play, and they score on it. It's Yossi from Duchesne and Forsberg at 17:18. With 1:46 left, the Bolts get a power play, and Kucherov scores on that from point at 19:40. So Hedman with a goal, Yossi with a goal. And it's interesting to me because fans will say, well, clearly Yossi's going to win the Norris. And then people will say, well, clearly Hedman's the best defenseman. He should win the Norris. And then, of course, you've got Colorado fans saying, are you kidding me? Cale Makar's got to win the Norris. It's going to be interesting to see who actually wins it. Second period, early jump for Nashville. The Bolts then press at 4 minutes. Duchesne has a rush chance that's defended. Nashville gets themselves a power play. That's killed off. There were chances late in it, though. Maroon fires one high on a rush. Nashville goes back to the power play. Hagel's denied on a shorthanded chance, and then Nashville scores. It's Carrier from Tomasino and Ekholm at 10:42. It was a cross-crease pass, and Carrier buries it. So nice pass by Tomasino. The shots are 7-5 for Nashville with 8 minutes left, but Tampa Bay answers. Stamkos scores from Kucherov and Palat at 13:58. Nashville would try to respond to that, of course, on their next shift. Hagel then has a chance that's blocked, but Tampa presses after that. And in the last minute, there were chances for both teams. So it's 4-2 after 2. Third period, early press by Tampa, and eventually they get the goal. Colton tips one in front. Hedman and Paul with the assists at 1:37. And then at 2:08 on a turnover, Maroon scores from Stamkos, and that ends the night for Saros. Riddick is in. We then had a fight between Cousins and Ruda. There was a lot of punching tonight. Stamkos gets hit in the chest with a puck, but he's okay. Hit him kind of high up here. Killorn can't bury one, but in the end, Tampa Bay wins this one 6-2. Make it look easy. They go to 48, 22, and 8. Nashville 44, 29, and 5 with the loss. Your shots are 13-8 Tampa in the first, 11-9 Tampa in the second, 15-4 Tampa in the third. Final shots 39-21 for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Power plays Nashville 2 for 4, Tampa Bay 2 for 2. Hits 35-27 Nashville. Saros saves 24 out of 30. Riddick saves all 9 shots in relief, and Elliott saves 19 out of 21. So they get Vasilevsky rest, and they stay 3 points clear of the Boston Bruins. Toronto, you're going to get Tampa in the first round. And that should be a fantastic round because Toronto looks like they're rounding into form as well. Toronto Maple Leafs in against Florida tonight. Florida, of course, on a 12-game winning streak, which was tied for their all-time franchise record. It was Campbell versus Bobrovsky. And on Toronto's first shot, they score. It's Marner from Brody and Riley at 3:25. And he blasts it from the corner. It's probably one Bobrovsky would want to have back. The interesting thing is Sportsnet was having technical difficulties, so the first about 4 minutes of this game was actually the Bally Sports broadcast, the Florida one, which I actually enjoyed. I was like, I guess I'm not getting a Sportsnet feed. All right. The shots are 3-0 Leafs at 5 minutes. Reinhart then had a net feed that wouldn't go. Achari was denied as they pressed. Matthews with a tip, that saved. There's a near miss for Matthews. The Leafs pressed with 5 minutes left. There was a post for Clifford. And then Hall would score one off Gudis' skate from Kampf and Brody at 17:20. The Leafs pressed for another. Mikheyev is denied on a 2-on-1. There's a late Leafs power play, which becomes a 4-on-4. As I posted on Twitter, and I'll say it here, when I'm watching Florida games now and they start out slow like this, where they didn't have a shot in the first, I think, 8 minutes of the game, I'm reminded of Princess Bride when Inigo Montoya decides to fence left-handed, because if you fence right-handed, it's over too quickly. And it feels to me like Florida decides at the start of the game, well, all right, if you shoot left, let's play right to start the game, just for a while. Let them feel good. Let them think they're doing well. And then switch to the right hand and we'll destroy them. So let the destruction begin. Second period. Leafs get a power play. That's killed off. The Panthers press after that, and they start to look like, well, Florida. The shots are 8-4 in their favor at 6 minutes, and then at 6:27, they get on the board. It's Barkov from Marchment and Giroux, and then the Panthers are looking for a tie. There was a net feed to declare. That's blocked out. Some back and forth with 6.5 minutes left. Panthers getting the momentum, and they get themselves a power play, which they score on. It's Giroux from Huberdeau and Barkov at 14:54. Claude Giroux fits in perfectly with Florida. That was on a face-off win as well. And then the Panthers are looking for the lead. So after 2 periods, it's 2-2. Third period, Liljegren with a shot that saved. Lundell then had a tip that was saved as well. The shots are 3-1 for the Panthers at 4.5 minutes. And Jack Campbell earned his keep tonight. Absolutely. Nylander has a shot that's blocked. Matthews can't bury one as they press. Of course, Matthews doesn't get on the score sheet tonight. He likely doesn't play tomorrow, apparently, against the Capitals, is the speculation. So we can all debate how well he is or how well he isn't. The shots are 8-5 for the Leafs at the half. Kampf then has a blast that's saved, and Tavares was denied on a 3-on-1. The Leafs press. They don't get shots, though, with about 3 minutes left. Some good back and forth late, but we're going to overtime. In the overtime, Panthers control it early. Uyghur's denied on a fast break. Matthews has a pass that's intercepted. Barkov defends on a Marner opportunity, and then they score. It's Montour from Marchment and Giroux at 2:26. There's Claude Giroux on the scoreboard yet again. It's a 3-2 overtime win for Florida. They go to 57-15-6. Toronto 51-21-7. With that overtime win, that's 13 wins in a row for Florida. They're going to win the President's Trophy. Let the jinxing talk begin. Your shots, 13-8 Toronto in the first, 16-10 Florida in the second, 12-9 Toronto in the third. In the overtime, Florida outshoots them 2-1. Final shots, 36-35 for the Leafs. Power plays, Toronto 0-2. Florida 1-2. Hits, 25-22 for Florida. Campbell saves 32 out of 35. Bobrovsky, nice start for him, 34 saves on 36 shots. Entertaining game. This might be a second-round preview. I'm on board if it's a second-round preview. I think that would honestly be a fun series. And if Toronto were to beat Tampa, right? But tomorrow Tampa Bay is playing Florida, so that could be a preview for the second round too. Either way, right? Okay. Moving along. Seattle in against Dallas. Dallas got away with one tonight again. So I don't come out of tonight feeling better about Dallas's chances of holding off Vegas. They have a game against Vegas on Tuesday. If they win that, they're going to the playoffs. If they lose that, they're likely not going to the playoffs. The way they've been playing, I think Colorado would destroy them. And that's my honest opinion. That's how I feel about it. Of course, with the result they got combined with the result that Nashville gets, they're now tied. But I still think Nashville's, with the tiebreaker on Dallas, I still think Nashville's in better shape. And Dallas proved tonight there are no easy games when you're the Dallas Stars. So it's Drieger versus Ottinger. Dallas wearing the Rave jerseys, the black with the bright green. I love those jerseys. They've grown on me. Early press by Seattle. Drieger, he denies Kiviranta. Harley has a chance that's held. The Stars score. There's a goalie interference challenge. It was pretty obvious it was goalie interference. It was really obvious. So yeah, they pulled that one off the board. The shots are 6-0 for Dallas at 3.5 minutes. So they came out and they showed all of that desperate hockey I've been waiting for and didn't see during any time on that Western road trip. Kraken get a power play. Pretty aggressive penalty kill kills that off for Dallas, but Seattle opens the scoring. It's Sheahan from Larson and Alexiak at 6:50. It stays that score, but St. Louis or Seattle's starting to play better. And eventually they get a second goal, and it's Yanni Gourde from Pouliot and Lind at 18:33. Now in the last minute, the Stars press, but they're down 2-0. After getting the first 6 shots, they're outshot the rest of the period by a total of 9-6. So Seattle outplays them. Second period, early chances for Seattle. In fact, they press at a minute and a half. So slow start for Dallas. And this is when I took this Dallas Stars magnet and I put it upside down. I said, all right, they're in distress. That's what you do with a flag. If a country's in distress, put it upside down. So I put the logo upside down. I've turned it right side up because we're doing the review. I don't need to have it in distress. It may be in distress for the next game as well. I don't know. But yeah, the shots are 4-2 for the Kraken at 6.5 minutes. And then Dallas scores. It's Robertson from Pavelski and Heiskanen at 6:53. Without Hintz, Robertson, Pavelski, without that line having the chemistry they have, Dallas isn't in a playoff spot. Seattle looks to answer, but the Stars would get a power play, and they score on it at 8:58. It's Hintz from Robertson and Ottinger with the secondary assist on that one. Then Nemesnikov on a turnover scores from Gurianov at 11:34. So some sloppy defensive play by Seattle. Suddenly it's a 3-2 lead for Dallas. But much like Boston, you get 3 goals all back to back to back, and looks like everything's great. And then, not much. Seattle tries to answer. The Stars, I felt, were finally playing desperate hockey in that second period. Finally, I'm like, okay, this is how you have to play, right? So third period, they stopped doing it. Soucy has a shot that's saved and held. Seattle presses at 2 minutes. The Stars were keeping them to the outside, mostly. We get a power play for Dallas, but a really aggressive penalty kill by Seattle helps to kill that off. There was a Ben to Sagan pass that was intercepted. I think that with Ben and Sagan, I think their plays are too telegraphed, so they're not as unpredictable as you might want them to be. So if you're playing against these guys, I think you know exactly what's going to go on there. Shots are 5-1 for Seattle at 6 minutes. So, yeah. Robertson has a rush that was defended. Kiviranta had a rush. There was a glove save on that. Seattle presses with 9.5 minutes left. Rask couldn't bury one. If Victor Rask had just been a little more on target, this would have been tied. So I put right there, trouble. This is trouble. They're not getting the puck out. 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Pavelski then can't bury one. The Stars never do anything easy. Wrote it right on the board. Like, this should be, they get those 3 goals. It is Seattle. This is a team that's been known to allow a lot of goals. They just couldn't get that done. Press by Seattle with 4 minutes left, and there's more pressure by Seattle after that on the next round of play, and they pull the goaltender with 1:10 left. So Dallas holds on. They do. They win 3-2. It doesn't help my confidence. They're 44-30-5 overall. For Seattle, they're 26-46-6 on the season. Your shots, 12-9 Dallas in the first, 14-9 Dallas in the second, and then in the third, 14-5 for Seattle. Final shots are 32-31 for the Kraken. They go 0-for-1 on the power play. Dallas 1-for-2. Hits 19-18 for Dallas. Drieger saves 28 out of 31. Otter's back, 30 saves on 32 shots. If Otter wasn't a wall in that third period, we'd be having a completely different discussion. But the door's still open there for Vegas. This win is just one of those ones that, yeah, Dallas should be able to get, but it wasn't anywhere near as easy as it should have been, at least on paper, right? All right, Chicago in against San Jose. So, of course, these teams both well outside the playoffs. And there were long stretches in this game where there just wasn't a lot happening. Like, these teams are both playing out the string, right? So it's Lankinen versus Kakkonen. And I have to say, Kakkonen might be stealing the starting job in San Jose. Absolutely could be. Vlasic versus Vlasic as well. So they went out to dinner apparently last night. The Vlasic on the Sharks, the Vlasic on the Hawks. I think they're cousins, right? Cousins. So Gregor misses one wide and close. Bordelot had a rush chance that was defended. Weatherby opens the scoring for San Jose. He was in tonight. He was a healthy scratch in their last game. Reedy and Shimolevsky with the assists. The shots are only 2-1 for San Jose at 8.5 minutes. Honestly, there wasn't a lot going on. It was a fast period of hockey as well. This one was done while I think there was still 6 minutes left in this period, and they started at the same time. So just continuous play, not a lot of whistles. Second period. Hurdle scores early from Meyer and Magna at 1:08. The Hawks, though, they do try to answer. They press, but they go offside during that pressure they had, which is too bad because it looked like they were going to get a goal there. The shots are 4-2 for the Hawks at 5.5 minutes. They had a 3-on-2. That was defended by San Jose. Regula fires one wide on a rush. And then San Jose scores again. It's Meyer from Barabanov at 10:34. So nice forechecking by Barabanov, and it's in the Chicago net. There's a power play for the Sharks. That's killed off. And then Chicago would get on the board. It is Tyler Johnson from Taves and Seth Jones at 15:38. Makes it 3-1. Then Timo Meyer had an opportunity. He was denied in close by Lankinen. So it's 3-1 going into the third. Early in the third at 4.5 minutes. The shots are 4-0 for Chicago. Bordelot can't bury one. He's looked good. I think Bordelot is, I mean, I know the scoring's not there yet, but he's been good. He's been in around the net. I think he'll get there. Power play for the Sharks. Couture was denied, but Bonino was not. He gets the power play marker from Burns and Couture at 6:19. The Sharks look for more. The Hawks get a power play. That's killed off. Merkley has a blast that saved. The Sharks would press, and the Sharks win this one 4-1. They go to 31, 35, and 12 with the win. Chicago 26, 42, and 11 with the loss. Your shots in this one, 9-4 Chicago in the first, 10-7 Chicago in the second, 9-8 Chicago in the third. Final shots, 28-19 for the Hawks. Power plays, Chicago 0-2, San Jose 1-3. Both teams had 18 hits. Lankinen saves 15 out of 19, and Kakinen saves 27 out of 28. So, there you go. Now, I need to change boards. So, with the results being as they were tonight, even if Vancouver wins, they were basically done. But, you know, the effort was there. I honestly, you know, I mean, Calgary's obviously the better team. They had a very good night tonight. And for Calgary, it really is about these players putting up career totals and just having career years right now. So it was Demko versus Vladar. Shot blocks, tight defense to start. Not a lot of open ice out there. Miller is a blast that saved. The shots were only 2-0 in favor of Vancouver at 7 minutes. The Flames, though, they pressed with 8 minutes left. Tkachuk would hit the post. The shots are 4-4 with 6 minutes left. There's some good back and forth at this point in the game. The Canucks would press with 1.5 minutes left, but it's scoreless after one. Second period, early press by Calgary. Shillington has a blast that saved. Then the Flames get a power play, and they score on it. It is Lindholm from Gaudreau and Hanifin at 2:44. If there's one thing that the Canucks have to address in the offseason, it is the penalty kill. It's been atrocious. I don't know that Calgary could just hand us back Chris Tanev, but it would be nice. They're not going to, but it would be nice. Because Tanev gets a secondary assist 16 seconds later on a goal by Dubé. Yarncroke with the other assist on that at 3 minutes. And the Flames had the momentum. That's when I updated the records and put them on the board. Because I'm like, yeah, it's 2-0 Calgary. They're not blowing this lead at home. Canucks have a rush that's broken up. The shots are 9-4 for Calgary at 6.5 minutes. The Flames score, but it's after a whistle. What I found funny about this was that they said, oh yeah, it's after the whistle. That won't count. And I thought back to a goal in a game earlier between Detroit and Pittsburgh where almost the exact same situation and it did count. So, all right. The puck was loose, wasn't covered, and then it was put in the net. So, Chason then has a net feed that's kicked aside. Tkachuk's denied in the slot. Backlund has a rush chance that's kicked aside. And then Quinn Hughes gets a goal from Podkolzin and Miller at 18:46. So if you're looking for a storyline as a Canucks fan, look and see whether or not Hughes can break Doug Lidster's record for points in a season by a defenseman. He's close. Lewis then has a rush chance that's saved and held. It's 2-1 Calgary after the second. We had 4-on-4 play to start the third period. Early press for the Flames. Lucic has a rush chance that's saved. The Canucks would press at around the 5.5 minute mark, and they score at 5:36. It's Garland from Myers and Miller. So JT Miller still putting up points. He's had a fantastic season. But again, right after that, Calgary scores. It's Brett Ritchie from Tanev and Lewis at 5:50. Dickinson's then denied on a rush. The Canucks get a power play. Hughes, Garland, both denied. Pettersson's denied. That's killed off, and then the Flames press after that. There was a power play for Calgary. The Canucks kill it off, and then Dylan Dubé scores from Lindholm at 13:33. Lindholm continues to have a career year himself. Zadorov would then score from Backlund at 13:45. So the Canucks pulled the goalie early because you have to. Your playoffs are on the line. Pettersson would score from Hughes and Miller at 17:35. So there's another assist for JT Miller and another point for Quinn Hughes. And Pettersson's up to 32 goals. There are positives for the Canucks, but then the empty netter is scored by Gaudreau from Tkachuk and Tanev at 18:21. So Tanev with 3 assists against the Canucks. Calgary scores 6 and the Canucks score 3. So Calgary goes to 49, 20, and 10 on the season. Vancouver 38, 30, and 11 on the season. So they're down to 3 games left. They don't mean anything in the standings, but again, look at the individual numbers, and we'll see where these guys end up. Shots 9-7 Calgary in the first, 16-13 Calgary in the second, 13-7 Vancouver in the third. Final shots were 33-32 for the Canucks. Power plays, Vancouver 0 for 1, Calgary 1 for 2. The hits 25-16 for Calgary. Demko saves 26 out of 31. Vladar saves 30 out of 33. And yeah, so Calgary, they've got themselves in good form for the playoffs. Again, nobody could move up or move down with this game tonight. So it was a pretty good affair. But again, it did kind of feel like the Canucks were a little bit down. I think they realized that the odds of them getting in were severely diminished over the last week or so, right? All right. Next up, St. Louis in against Arizona. This game wasn't interesting until suddenly it was very interesting. So it's Binnington versus Setri. Early press by the Coyotes. The Blues would then press, and they score. It's Falk from Walker and Brown at 3:13. And I say Setri because that's how apparently it's supposed to be pronounced. Blues look for another, and they get it. It's Barbashev with his 25th from Falk and Leddy at 5:51. The shots are 7-1 for the Blues at this point, so it's 2-0. And it looks like they're going to run them out of the building. Imama had a backhander that was saved. Power play then for the Blues. That's killed off. Blues get another power play, and Saad would score on it at 16:20. Now, originally it had assists. Last I checked, it doesn't. They took the assists off the board. So Saad gets the goal. It's 3-0. Nathan Smith would then add one for Arizona from Stroman and Carconi at 17:11. Then there's a post for Logan Brown on the next shift. With 1:14 left, the Coyotes get a power play. It becomes a 4-on-4 before the period's out, though. So, yeah, 3-1 St. Louis after one. Second period, everything gets killed off from that 4-on-4 situation. And then Logan Brown scores from Joshua at 2:56. That's 4 goals for the Blues. To this point in the game, the Coyotes had 6 shots. So it really did not look like there was anything to be concerned about with this game. Shots were 6-2 for the Blues at the half. The Coyotes get a power play, but it becomes a 4-on-4. The Coyotes score, but goalie interference waves that off. So no goal there. Blues press with 2 minutes left. Dominant game for the Blues through 2 periods. They'd only allowed 9 shots, and they had 28. So Binnington not busy, but yeah, it's fine. They're up, and it's 4-1. They're in Arizona. Arizona coming into today, the 32nd team out of 32 in the league. Third period, it gets interesting. Early press by the Blues and a crossbar for Calle Rosen. Blues press again at 4 minutes. The shots are 3-0, though, for the Coyotes at 5 minutes. So the Blues are getting the zone time. They're not getting the shots on net. And then Imama scores from Galchenyuk at 5:39. It's buried. It's a nice pass. That's his first NHL goal for Boko Imama. So congratulations to him on that. And then Carconi scores at 6:23 from Stroman and Kessel. I really like what Arizona's done this year with bringing guys up that are either seen as projects or, well, not really NHLers, but some of them have given surprisingly good results. Be interesting to see how many of them stick around into next season. Blues try to answer. The shots are 5-1 for the Coyotes with 9 minutes left. So, since they're 3-0 here, and there's 9 minutes left here, those Imama and Carconi shots were back-to-back. Thomas has a net feed that's cleared, and then Mosier ties it from Schmaltz and Yannick at 15:18. That's where I said, what? That's what I said when they tied it, because honestly, this game was all St. Louis through the first 2 periods. There's just, I don't understand what happened. Joshua then has a wraparound that's saved. We go to overtime. St. Louis was 3-8 in overtimes coming into this one. Arizona 5-2. The Blues control early. Tarasenko has a chance to deflect out. But on a face-off win, Falk would get the goal from Tarasenko and Thomas at 30 seconds. So St. Louis survives the scare. They win it in overtime. They keep pace with Minnesota. They go to 48-20-11 with the win. Arizona 22-50-7 with the overtime loss. With that overtime loss point, they're tied with Montreal. They have more regulation wins than Montreal, so they're ahead of them in the standings right now. Shots are 15-6 St. Louis in the first, 13-3 St. Louis in the second, and then 11-3 Arizona in the third. There was only the one shot in the overtime. That's the one that matters. Final shots are 32-20 in favor of St. Louis. Power plays, St. Louis 1 for 4, Arizona 0 for 2. The hits, 34-17 for Arizona, and as they said, St. Louis wasn't getting hits because they had the puck the entire first 40 minutes. Binnington, 16 saves on 20 shots. Setri, his numbers continue to be just nightmarish, but again, it's Arizona, right? 27 saves on 32 shots. So Arizona gets a point. There you go. Kudos to Arizona on getting a point. And finally, Anaheim and the LA Kings. These teams hate each other. And I don't think that got better tonight. Although it was weird to see this is Getzlaf's final game against the Kings, and they all shake hands with him. After seconds earlier, everybody wanted to punch him in the head. So, it's hockey. Stolars versus Quick. The Kings wearing the Cylon helmets with their white throwback, futuristic throwback jerseys. I mean, it's a throwback to the old jersey, but it's a modernized version, right? Kings press at 4 minutes. Terry has a rush chance that's saved. Grundstrom is denied from in close, and then just past the halfway mark at 10:04, Kaliev scores from Byfield and Grundstrom. So Byfield, nice pass by him. Kaliev with the goal. Byfield, this I think might have been his most effective game so far with the Kings. He's very young, so it's a little early to write off Byfield. So he gets the assist there. Getzlaf and Terry were then robbed after a turnover by the Kings. Lundestrom would hit the post. The Kings press then, and Stolars make saves on that. There's a power play for the Kings. There's a minute and 25 seconds of 5-on-3, and the Ducks kill it off. One thing that the Kings have to be concerned about is their special teams going to the playoffs. Absolutely their Achilles heel. And against an Oilers team that has a lethal power play and a very good penalty kill, yeah, they've got to fix that. Second period, the Ducks get a power play, and they score on it. It's Zegras from Getzlaf at 3:34. The Kings then get a power play. Kempe's denied. That's killed off. And then the Ducks get the lead. It's Mayhew from Mahura at 9:06. The puck's coming in at Quick. It did a bounce. Don't try to swing with your stick to swing it. So he gets the goal stick and swings underneath the puck, and the puck bounces over his stick and into the net because he wasn't behind the puck. Block the puck. It's one of those things. There's nothing like when a goaltender kind of hot dogs it a little bit or tries something fancy and the puck ends up in the net. That famously happened to Patrick Waugh. I remember. There have been some great goalies that have made some iffy moves because anyways, and that's kind of what that reminded me of. I thought, you can't be doing that in the playoffs. Just get behind the puck. Don't try to, wing it out there. Just get behind the puck and just tend the goal. So, that one happened. Kings press for an answer. Lundestrom fires one wide on a rush, and then Roy does get the answer from Kaliev and Kopitar at 11:33. I thought Kopitar tipped it, but it still says Roy got the goal on the app. And he did point at Kopitar and ask him too, so he knew that Kopitar, the screen that he was providing was perfect. Kings go back to the power play. Iafallo's denied. Kempe was denied as well. So the good news is that at least Kempe and Iafallo had the opportunities, but in the end that one's killed off. Ducks get a power play. That's killed off. So going to the third period, the score is 2 apiece. Kaliev hits the outside of the net. Then there's a near miss for Comtois. The shots are 4-1 for the Kings at 5.5 minutes. And then Edler would score from Byfield at 6:21. And this is one, too, that looked like it tipped. I think it went off Lundestrom in front of the net. Anyways, so Byfield with his second assist, and that makes it a 3-2 lead for LA. Henrique then misses on a rush opportunity. Grundstrom was denied on a rush. Then Simone had a fight with Grundstrom during that same shift. So that happened. I didn't expect those two guys to pair off. The Ducks have a 3-on-2. That's defended. The shots are 7-4 for the Kings with 4.5 minutes left as the hitting is ramping up and the dislike is ramping up. Kings press with 3.5 minutes left. There was a 2-on-1 for the Kings. Athanasiou fires wide. Goalie pull with 2:10 left. Then with a minute and 9 seconds left, the Kings get a power play. Well, the Ducks pull the goaltender anyways to get it back to 5-on-5. That allows Iafallo to get the rarity. It's a power play goal and an empty netter from Kempe and Kopitar at 19:35, and then on a whistle with 5.7 seconds left, everyone starts punching. Just punching. I broke out at the bench. Even the goalies left their creases just in case the goalies didn't get involved. But a lot of punching, and it was the LA feed that I had, so Jim Fox was not happy because in the end it came out with a power play for the Ducks. There's 5 seconds left, so it's not a big deal. Your final score is 4-2 for LA. They go to 43, 27, and 10. Anaheim 30, 35, and 14. LA's basically assured of a playoff spot at this point. Your shots are 15-9 LA in the first, 13-5 LA in the second, 12-6 LA in the third. They outshoot Anaheim 40-20. Power plays 1 for 3 for the Anaheim Ducks, 1 for 5 for LA. Hits 29-18 Anaheim. Stolar saves 36 out of 39. Quick saves 18 out of 20. And there you go. You guys are all caught up. Let me know your thoughts regarding any of these games in the comment section below. I will be doing the power rankings, and then, of course, I have to do the preview for tomorrow because we have early games, because, of course, we do. But it's the last Saturday night where this takes place until October. So from now until the middle of October, it's about a 6-month period. These long Saturdays are done. And so, as exhausting as they are, I kind of miss them when they're gone. It's kind of weird. Next Saturday is going to be bizarre because there's not hockey games, but there we are. So, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.